Hey guys, it's Abby from Autumn of Pellinor, and today I'm going to be looking at the lowest rated books on my Goodreads shelves. So I am copying this from Emma from Drinking by My Shelf. I also did the highest rated books, check that out here, and check out Emma's video, obviously. I'm just going through my red shelf on Goodreads, sorting it by average rating. Last time I put it normal, this time it's in reverse, I don't know. Those are the two options that Goodreads gives you. And this one is going to take a little more explaining than the last. So the highest rated books were all books that are already popular, with a couple of interesting ones. These are not. The first book actually has 0 ratings. I haven't rated it, I just marked it as read because I read it as a child, but it has 0 ratings, so I don't think that counts. Like, can I count something that hasn't been rated at all as a lowest rated book? So I'm gonna kind of look for ones that have actually been read a bit more. I do have some like really random ones like Shakespeare, the Bard's Guides to Insults and what is it? Bard's Guide to Abuses and Affronts. Apologies, Shakespeare. And that hasn't been read by a lot of people because, like, who's picking that up? So I'm going to ignore them. So the first book, Talking with Psychopaths and Savages by Christopher Berry D. I don't have this because I have lent it to my boyfriend for him to read. I gave it to him in 2017. I gave this 2 stars. I did not enjoy this book. The subject matter, as I said in my review on Goodreads, was incredibly interesting. I love this sort of thing. My partner actually has a degree in psychology and a master's in neuropsychology. No, something, I don't know. I'm a bad girlfriend. He doesn't know mine. Mine's a lot longer of a title, but he doesn't know mine. So this has got 1,500 ratings. 1,500. So it is about this guy going and talking to psychopaths and discussing things with them. So it has got 1,500 reviews. It just wasn't written very well. Some of the cases that he talked about, I read this in 2017, it's been a while. Some of the cases that he was talking about, he didn't actually go speak to the individuals, whereas the entire premise of the book was that he's went to go speak to these psychopaths. And some of the, like, he would focus on a case where he hadn't spoken to anyone in that case at all. That was my main problem with it. Just read the end of the review. The author praised himself to ridiculous heights. This man's ego is the same size as Donald Trump's. Like, oh, this man loves himself, and it made the book so difficult to read. He kept self-congratulating and complimenting, and that's not the point of the book. The point of the book was for you to go and talk to psychopaths. I don't want to know about you, I want to know about the psychopaths. And yet this entire thing was just boosting himself, and because of that it was incredibly badly written and really difficult to get through. The thing that did get me through it was that it is a really interesting subject matter and it's a short book, it's like 200 pages, so I did speed through it in that sense, but I was very angry with this man. I remember reading it in the dark on a bus, a replacement bus service, because I was meant to be on the train, welcome to Britain, and I was just angry. Reading it really angry. Whew, it was a time. Next book is Ghost Stories by Whit Taylor. So I got this from NetGalley. It has an average rating of 3.01, the last one was 2.77. This is going to have been read less, I think. Yeah, so this only has 151 ratings. This was just kind of which is why it has 2 stars from me. This I read at the very beginning of 2018, which is why I'm checking my review. The comic was really all over the place and unorganised. There are some people who gave it 5 stars and really enjoyed it, which is why it's right at a 3-star rating, but for me it was just disorganised and kind of boring. Next up, 5 on Brexit Island. I have that. Am I gonna hunt it out? Am I gonna get it? No. Because my Kindle's on it and it'll fall. 5 on Brexit Island. I gave this 4 stars. I found it really funny. I'm assuming you've heard of The Famous Five. Most people have. So it is a comedy, a parody of the Famous Five books by a man called Bruno Vincent, and it is laughing at Brexit. The reason that it's got just under 1,500 ratings. The reason that this is going to have been so divisive is that it's about Brexit. Yeah, so reading a couple of low reviews. Some of them are just that they didn't like the writing style, they didn't like the kind of parody of it, which is absolutely fair enough, but a lot of the low reviews are, why are you talking badly about Brexit? Just because it's a political book, it's just not gonna get a higher rating than 3.05. The fact that it's so neutral I find kind of amusing. Then the next book is Bloodwater by Dean Vincent Carter. I got this book when I was a kid and then never read it. It's got 63 ratings, that's it. I gave it 2 stars. I really did not enjoy this book. This actually has more high ratings than low, and it's got a 3.14 average. It's a really interesting concept. It's like this creature in the water that has infected everyone. Well, slowly starts to infect everyone and kill everyone, and it's like a horror story. I just didn't enjoy it. I kept reading it because I wanted to finish it, and it was a short book. 200 pages, it's technically like a kid's book. It just was kind of boring. But yeah, so I have a feeling other people kind of felt the same, that it wasn't that interesting. One more. Okay, I haven't rated this one on Goodreads, but I kind of remember what I would have rated at the time. I read it when I was teenager, and it's Just In Case by Meg Rosoff. I would have given this 3.5, 4 stars. I would have clicked 4 stars on Goodreads at the time. It's got 3,500 ratings, and it's got 3.21 as its average rating. Again, more people enjoyed it than didn't, but it doesn't seem to be highly rated. People didn't like how it didn't seem to have a point. I don't really remember much about this book, I just remember liking it. It's this kid who kind of like escapes his life, and he renamed his, like, he's called Justin, and it's Just In Case. I can see why people rated it lowly in terms of just thinking of the concept, but reading it at the time as a teenager, I really enjoyed the book. And I'm gonna stop there. I actually ended up doing like 10, maybe technically more books for the highest rated, but that is because a lot of them were from the same series, because I've read the ones from the same series. These were all different books, and a lot of them aren't very highly read. I think none of them are highly read, which I find really interesting. So the books that, for me, the books that got lower ratings, a lot of them were unknown, which is an interesting topic. I don't think that unknown books are inherently bad. Do not get me wrong. The amount of books that I rave about on this channel that no one seems to read. I do not have that opinion, but it does seem to be the case that these books are all like unknown ones. I think it's more interesting to watch Emma's, if you go check hers out, because her books are more read. She works in publishing, so she has to kind of stay up to date. Obviously she can read what she wants, but she also kind of has to stay up to date for work, so she reads a lot more like known books than me just reading random crap that I find. So hers was really interesting to see, kind of what of the known books were less beliked. What's my first like known book? The first known, like, non-obscure book on here is The Casual Vacancy by J.K. Rowling with 3.3. Almost 300,000 reviews. I gave this 3 stars. I read this quite young. I read this when I was 17. Reading The Casual Vacancy was kind of odd for me. My mum didn't like me reading adult books when I was a teenager. She very much, like, if a movie is rated 15, I could not watch it till I was 15. Even in the house, no. And so she did not let me read adult books until I hit 18. She was very like, nope, nope, nope. So I read The Casual Vacancy at 17. I think the reason I got away with it is because it's J.K. Rowling, and it was lent to her to give to me by a friend at work. So kind of that like person that she knows was saying, yeah, that's fine for Abby to read, and the fact that it's the person who wrote Harry Potter, she was like, okay, sure. I gave it 3 stars at the time. I found it very confusing. I don't know if this is because of my age, and because this was one of the very few adult books I had read at the time. YA books are structured in a more simple manner because it is meant to be able to appeal to quite a wide range in terms of age. The development of an 18-year-old reading YA is different to a 12-year-old reading YA. You need to aim for both of those. So that is what I had been reading, whereas this adult book was aimed at adults, and I was confused. It jumps around all these different people, and I kept getting lost and confused from which viewpoint I was reading at, but I did still have an enjoyment of the book, so that's why I got 3 stars. I remember this, like, even though it was quite a few years ago now, like 5, 6 years ago, I still remember, like, I was so confused, but I was still kind of enjoying it. So I'd be interested to see, I don't own it, but I would be interested to see if I ended up rereading it, what I thought of it now as an adult. Like, it's only a few years later, but there's been enough developmental time, enough experience with more adult books. I would be interested to see kind of how I approached it as an adult than a teenager, even though there's not a big difference. In terms of the fact that I read it and was confused, I can see why other people would rate it low. I bet that there were a lot of people like me who weren't adults who were reading it, maybe even younger than I was, and that kind of more confusing structure with viewpoints, so many different viewpoints, would confuse people more used to a YA genre. But then also, it could just be a bad book, I don't know. I need to reread it. And those are the 6 lowest rated books on my shelves. The 5 lowest and then the first like known ones. Again, watch Emma's video, it's much better done. Much better done. She's better at the English too. I can't speak. Thank you so much for watching the video. Check out my and Emma's highest rated books on our Goodreads shelves. Check out all the other videos in the little I button. Is it there? Or is it there? I think it's there. And in the description below. If you want to see some more from me, click the subscribe button and click like if you enjoyed the video. And comment and tell me if you've read any of these books, including The Casual Vacancy. Did you read it as an adult? Were you confused? Tell me. Tell me. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!